2014 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Joel Embiid.
This is one of the worst trades that I can think of. This is Luka Doncic-esque, where we're talking about. Nico Harrison is somewhere popping a bottle because he is not the person that is responsible for the worst trade. He's right there with this Jalen.
Brad Stevens is considered one of the smartest front office minds in basketball. So how did he end up trading a healthy finals MVP in the middle of his prime for almost nothing? And why, out of all 30 teams, did he send him straight to Boston's most hated rival, the same team that had just humiliated the Celtics in the playoffs? This is the story of how the Celtics accidentally built a super team for the team they've hated for 73 years.
Proud of this group and the way we played. I wish we trusted that style of play a little bit more, but I know playoffs kind of shifted our rotations. But I'm so proud, and it was my favorite year of my basketball career.
Segment 1, a rivalry older than the league itself. To understand how absurd this trade really was, you have to understand the history behind it. The Celtics-Sixers rivalry dates back to 1953, but it reached its peak in the 1960s with the legendary duels between Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, two franchises meeting in the conference finals 7 times, with Boston coming out on top nearly every time. The bitterness carried into the 1980s with Larry Bird and Julius Erving, an era defined by physicality and real animosity captured forever in the iconic 1984 photo of the two literally choking each other on the court. Segment 2. History repeats itself in 2026. Fast forward to April 2026, Boston held a commanding 3-1 series lead over Philadelphia, demolishing them by 32 points in Game 4. The series looked completely over. But led by Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, the Sixers pulled off a historic comeback, handing Boston their first ever blown 3-1 lead in franchise history. Less than 24 hours later, Jaylen Brown went live on Twitch and called it his favorite season of his career, a comment that, fair or not, was widely seen as tone-deaf given the devastating collapse that had just happened.
You just gave up a 3-1 lead in the playoffs, and you're on Twitch? Your fans are more upset than you?
This is my favorite year. That can, point, right? Because we won a championship.
And you won a finals MVP with the counter.
So it's like, but no, man, this is my favorite year.
Jaylen Brown's too smart to do that.
I think there was a lack of awareness for Jaylen Brown as a leader, and I still think there's a ton of room.
The year where you're the number one option, you don't let that be known because that seems very selfish of you. So, yeah, he ruined it.
Yeah. He's gotten the huge contract, and him making the point to do that Twitch stream after blowing a 3-1 lead and making the point of announcing this is was my favorite.
Segment 3, a career spent in someone's shadow. To understand why Brown said what he said, you have to understand his whole Celtics tenure. Drafted 3rd overall in 2016, Brown spent nearly his entire career viewed as the second option behind Jason Tatum, even after winning both Finals MVP and Conference Finals MVP in 2024. When Tatum went down with an Achilles injury in the 2025 playoffs, Brown finally got his shot to be the undisputed number 1 in Boston, and by nearly every metric, it became the best season of his entire career.
Jaylen Brown.
To start off, I was booed when I was drafted.
This guy is our guy, and he's our guy for the future. So we're pleased to make the bet that Jaylen Brown is a Celtic.
That was my introduction to the city. And I was the top pick. I didn't have an agent as well, so I had nobody advocating for me as a young player.
Yeah, right now I got like an adrenaline rush. Like I'm watching Steph Curry warm up, I'm watching Andre Iguodala warm up. Right now I feel kind of excited and ready to go. I can't wait to see the finals. One day I want to be in the same situation as these guys. I want to get here so bad. I will be here.
Segment 4, the analytics nobody wanted to talk about. Here's where the front office's perspective gets complicated. Despite Brown's gaudy counting stats, Boston's on-off numbers consistently showed the team performed better with him off the floor, a trend that held for 3 straight seasons. The core issue was fit Brown isn't a strong enough three-point shooter to force defenses to collapse, which meant he was constantly forced into isolation possessions that ran directly against Boston's ball movement heavy offensive system.
What does holding this trophy mean to you?
It was a full team effort, and I shared this with my brothers and my partner in crime, Jason Tatum. He was with me the whole way, so we shared this shit together.
How important is winning Finals MVP to you?
It's not like the main thing. Isaiah Thomas didn't win Finals MVP every time. Tim Duncan didn't win Finals MVP every time. Larry Bird, Steph Curry only has one. Kobe won 2 out of it. I would not the slightest bit be sad, that I didn't win Finals MVP. I would be ecstatic just to win the Finals.
Segment 5. Chasing Giannis. Losing everything Boston's real target that summer wasn't a trade, it was Giannis Antetokounmpo. Reportedly open to signing with the Celtics, Giannis wanted a 3-year extension worth 35% of the cap. Brad Stevens refused to go past 2 years at 30%, unwilling to gut the roster's depth to get a deal done. While Boston hesitated, Miami swooped in and signed Giannis outright, and just like that, the market for trading Brown began drying up fast.
6 conference finals, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, NBA Finals MVP, and he's being dangled for a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
If Jalen walked into a place where everybody's walking through the red door, but he thinks the blue door is the way to go, he's going to walk through the blue door. And I think a lot of people don't like that. When he first came into the NBA, I had a story about who gets chastised for that.
Jaylen Brown, I had 2 NBA sources tonight, 2 people in the league, one an executive, one a scout, say that Jaylen Brown it's a disease. He suddenly thinks he's the smartest guy in every room he's in. I've worked with people in the media. It's really, you get into a really bad space. You make a lot of money. Suddenly you're absolutely sure. You don't want to listen to your bosses. You don't want to listen to consultants. You don't want to listen to teammates. And live streaming and throwing it out there. And that's just not a good space. It used to be nothing good happens after 3 in the morning. Nothing good happens when pro athletes live stream. It's just trouble. Stay away from it.
The Celtics did not feel that Jalen had the best season on their team. And I don't mean Jason Tatum. I'm talking about they felt that Derek White.
That still has us shook. The Celtics have agreed to send their 2024 Finals MVP to the 76ers, their longtime rival.
The late, great Bill Russell is turning cartwheels in his grave right now.
With his value dropping the longer Boston held on. Segment 6. The trade that shook the league with few options left and a relationship with Brown that had grown increasingly toxic, Boston turned to the only team still willing to make a deal, Philadelphia, the exact rival that had just eliminated them from the playoffs. In return, all Boston got back was 4 draft picks and a 36-year-old Paul George, who'd been suspended 25 games the previous season for violating the league's drug policy. Analysts and former Celtics alike were stunned not just by the return package, but by the decision to strengthen the exact franchise Boston had spent 70 years despising. Segment 7. The trade that recruited LeBron the fallout got worse fast. With LeBron James searching for one final team to finish his career, Philadelphia used their newly acquired Jaylen Brown as the centerpiece of their recruiting pitch, and it worked. LeBron confirmed he'd be joining the Sixers for the final stretch of his career. Brown himself later confirmed the connection directly without landing him. He said, "Philadelphia never lands LeBron." Boston hadn't just traded away a Finals MVP, they'd handed their rival a full-blown super team. Segment 8. The aftermath in Boston, with Brown gone. The entire franchise now rests on Jason Tatum's shoulders, a player still working his way back from an Achilles rupture. An injury that historically costs players around 15% of their athletic output and shortens careers significantly. Brown, for his part, admitted he hasn't spoken to Tatum since the trade, a telling sign of just how much tension the fallout has created, and a storyline that's set to fuel the Celtics-Sixers rivalry for years to come. That's how one of the league's smartest front offices ended up building a championship-caliber roster for the team they've hated for 73 years, all while trying to create financial flexibility for a superstar who signed somewhere else entirely. Boston's road back to a title just got a whole lot harder, and Philadelphia may have just become the team to beat in the East. If jaw-dropping front office decisions like this fascinate you, smash that subscribe button so you never miss the next deep dive breakdown. So here's the real question: was this a genuine front office mistake, or did Brad Stevens know exactly what he was doing? Drop your take in the comments, we want to know who you're blaming for this one.